Hi, Robin. You can begin.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual Assistance Administrative Empowerment Network called VAN. So, hello, everyone. My name is Robin Devonish. I'm your moderator for this evening for this powerful discussion surrounded around getting back into the workforce, breaking in, landing opportunities when you're starting over. And so, we have an awesome panel for this evening of powerful women that are doing great things. We have Dr. Marianne Jordan, we have Denise Sutton, Dr. Stacy Shepard, Tammy Harrell, and Catherine Ogie. And so, to get started first, let's let the crowd get to know who you are. So, just briefly, 1 minute, please tell us who you are, what you do today, and briefly share a career transition or pivotal moment that shaped where you are now. And we're going to start with Dr. Marianne Jordan. You're muted.
I'm so
Hey.
excited to be here today. Uh, I am the CEO of JMP National Youth Empowerment Network. I am one of the founders of that organization, and I'm also the co owner and the principal consultant for JMP Consulting Group. What was a pivotal change for me is in 2016, I was diagnosed with a debilitating lung disease and was put on disability. And so for that, my life changed for the great new chapter in my life. So that's where mine started at.
Thank you so much for sharing. So, Miss Denise, we're going to go to you.
Hello. My name is Denise Sutton. I am the CEO of Now a Child Productions, LLC. I started the company many years ago when I was called to start the business, right? And from there, it's been a whirlwind. It's been over 20 plus years with Now a Child Productions. And similar to the previous participant, I too had a medical setback in 2023, which led me to halt, halt literally my business. And with that, I had to reset and I'm now rebranding. As far as career, I work a 9 to 5 plus I take care of the business of being the CEO for Now a Child Productions. So with that, there's a lot to accomplish. And I'm going to pass it back to you, Robin.
Thank you so much. Dr. Stacy Shepard.
Hi, good evening. I'm excited to be here with you all tonight. I am Dr. Stacy Shepard. I am the CEO of Arise Now, which is a women's empowerment coaching network, as well as She Leads Educational Consultancy, where I work with women, particularly who are in education, who are looking to take that leap into leadership. So working with them to help with the coursework, and helping them prepare to even just get to the table, right? I am also the executive director, superintendent of some schools here in Asheville, North Carolina. Just recently moved this week, just recently started in that career this week. But a pivotal moment for me was when I took the seat 4 years ago as a middle school principal and was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so it was during that time that my business didn't halt, but it actually started because of that.
Thank you so much for sharing. Tammy Harrell.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy to be here with all of you. I have a history, what I've done is banking all my life, 35 years. And there was a halt in February of this year where I was, they call it terminated. I call it, I was retired early. And so that's my change in this and getting back, finding what it is I want to do, and to make sure that I can do the best that I can and what my skill set that I currently have. So I'm glad to be here, and I'll be able to learn as well as share with some of you ladies. So I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Catherine Ogie, you're muted. There you
Okay,
go.
yeah. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Ogie. So I am the president and founder of Rockhaven Group. We are a staffing and recruitment agency. Started in late, uh, I started in the late 90s as a hobby, just helping people find their paths and all of that. Then it quickly became an LLC in 2006. My pivotal moment came in when I lost my mom, my best friend, and I have to go home to bury her.
Mhm.
When I came back, I was not interested in doing the business because she was my backbone. But a friend of mine looked me in the eye and said, Kathy, if your mom was here today, what would she want you to do? And I knew that she would want me to continue. Stepped out slowly, but in the midst of that, I felt a call to the ministry and I started working with refugees and immigrants. And then another moment came in 2022 when I found out that I had a heart attack. Didn't know it happened, but took myself to the emergency room, and that took 2 years of my time being quiet, praying. I'm a faith believer, and eventually, I got healed of all of the stuff that had to do with my heart. There was no surgery because I was not a good candidate for a bypass. But today, that has led me to write several books on healing and giving hope to people around me. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for sharing. So, I guess the great thing to do, or the next thing to do, is to share a little bit about me, right? So actually for me, I had two pivots in my life. My first pivot was to go from the workforce into full-time entrepreneurship. I became a book publisher. So I've helped hundreds of women self-publish their books. And so I did that for 12, 13 years. And then I walked away from it all and re-entered the workforce. So I had two pivots in my life. I know y'all saying, Dag, she looks only like 20. What is she talking about?
Right.
But I am 50 plus, real close to 60, right? And so so those were two pivots in my life, right? So, we I think we all understand uh the task of starting over, right? Starting over, so the next question is, what's the biggest misconception is that starting over means from zero, right? What that is a misconception. People say, oh, you're starting from zero, but I've learned that there are transferable skills. So what would you say, how can someone transfer their skills from, one place to the next place to the next place when they're going through these whole moments of pivot? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on three of you and you can answer in that order, okay? So we're going to start with Dr. Marion, then we're going to go to Miss Harrell, and then we're going to go to Miss Denise Sutton.
I would say for me, I don't think anybody ever starts from ground zero. I think you have to understand your purpose, what you're good at, and what you enjoy. And for me, I bought in $8 million to a company that I worked for as a non for profit. And I knew I was good at that, but I didn't reap all the benefits from it. And it's not about financial for me. It was more so about, I felt overwhelmed about it. I didn't feel like I had a lot of say on it. I brought the money to the table. I did a lot of programming, but I didn't feel relieved. And so I didn't feel good about what I was doing all the time. I felt like I was overwhelmed and everything, the weight of everything was on my shoulders. And so for me, I was able to take what I knew and I've been doing for many, many years and put it all in me and invest in me. And I had a lot of sister friends who were really cheering me on because they knew what I did in the workforce and they were like, you can do this. And guess what? I'm going to give you a contract. I know the work that you can do. And so for me, it was really sewing into myself and really believing in myself that if I was doing it for somebody else, why not invest it in myself? The fear for me was I was so used to the 9 to 5 and working for somebody and getting that check, that 9 to 5. I was afraid to step away from that. And it took me becoming disabled to say, okay, I have something more to give than just sitting here and receiving a check. I'm a talented woman and I want to do this for myself. And I got to tell you quickly that when I set the goal, I exceeded that goal, the financial goal, in less than 6 months by investing in myself. And
Wow.
so never think that you're at the bottom. Think about all that you're giving to somebody else and give it to yourself. And so for
Yes.
me, don't ever think you're at the bottom, and always look. I tell people all the time with your skills that you have, think about how you can use that someplace else. You know, maybe you work for AT&T and now you've been downsized and you don't work there anymore. Think about the skills that are transferable, not AT&T, and I'm not using defaming a company, but use those skills that are transferable to something else.
Yes.
When you're trying to sell yourself, but never at ground zero for anything that we do. We work too hard. Think about what you can give to yourself and pour back into yourself.
I love that. I love that. Miss Harrell?
Thank you. I agree with Dr. Jordan. Thank you. Well said. Because we don't start with zero. We have skills. And if you're not sure of what that skill is, ask someone. Ask a sister friend. Ask someone that you've worked with before. Ask the previous client. What do you think my skill set, what I'm good at? If you don't have the answer, or like I'm guilty of this, not giving myself enough credit to say what I'm good at, right? And so I don't think any of us start with zero skills. What we have, we can bring to anybody else's table. If we've been at this table, we can bring it to another table, create our own table. So I stand in agreement with Dr. Jordan, well said, and find out what your best skill set is and make sure that you know that what you want to do, what you aspire to do, is something that will last. That's legacy. That's where my mindset is currently right now. So I'll turn that back over to you, Robin.
Thank you so much. Okay, Miss Sutton, it's your turn.
Okay, so what's the question again?
Oh my gosh. The question is in terms of transferable skills, like often people say, well, if I'm starting over, I'm starting at zero, right? That's a misconception.
Mm,
So the question is, how can you identify like your transferable skills to start in this new space? Like
yes, thank
maybe
you.
there's some steps, maybe there's something that you did from, you stated earlier that you're still in the workforce, but you also have a business. So you're in a space right now where every day you're transferring skills. But how can you help someone
Yeah,
else to kind of identify that? And do you think it's true that uh when you have to start over, that you're starting at zero?
right. No, we do not start at zero. I think about because I'm now in my 50s. So I think about when I was in my teens and my 20s. Um, I developed the skills through college, learning whatever my passion was at that time, which was television and radio. And I took those skills and I honed those skills. And I take that as well as public speaking, not only to my 9 to 5, not only when I go to Toastmasters meetings, but I use it in my business, right? So, as a television talk show host, as a speaker in certain events, I've learned to use those skills. With Now Child Productions, the Lord told me to start the business, and I did just that because I was videotaping, I was going to different events, I was doing all forms of things and starting my first show. And with that, things happen, but I take those same skills in everyday life and I use them on my 9 to 5. I use them in everyday life dealing with people. I use them even to learn different technical skills because the pace is growing and moving so quickly, especially with the introduction of AI. So all of our skills, they can be worked into something new. So you never lose it, but I believe you add thou to it. You add to it. And I'm gonna leave it like that.
Okay. So this question is for everyone, but we're going to start with Miss Catherine first. Um, when we go through life in transitions, right? I think part of it, we question who we are in this situation, right? But now we also question not only from that situation who we were, but who we are presently, right? So, my question for all of you is when you were going through your changes, right? Your pivotal moments, right? Who do you think you were then, and who do you think you are now? And
Well,
there's a two-part question. After y'all answer, there's a two-part question to that. So, who do you think you were then, and who do you think you are now? Okay, let's start with you, Miss Catherine.
wow, so fair. Okay, so I what I do now. Okay, I also still do a nine, still work a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Not for the money because it's not great, but for the passion.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back, I did this when I didn't have a grade for it. I was just 19 years of age. Now I'm six. I just turned 16 May. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I was in Nigeria. I had a job. I took a job just to help my family situation. I had 8 siblings, and things were very, very tough. What people would consider basic was a luxury in my home, but I was very concerned. How are we ever going to get from point A to point B? And so I got a job, and where I worked, people will come into this company. Let's call it a Fortune 100 company, and they will come in. Who's the manager at 19? How are you a manager? Would you go talk to my kids? And you guys have to understand where I worked. I had no business being there in the first place. So I knew the Lord placed me in that environment. So when all these people come in, they are influential, they have money. And they will wonder, how can a 19-year-old run such a business and she's doing it so well? And they will give me their home address. So we in Nigeria, it's not the way America runs. Oh, I'll just go to their homes on weekends, talk to their kids. Many times their kids were older than me. But whatever I tell them, which I don't even remember what I tell these young people, and they will listen and they will turn. And that's how I was able to come to America. Somebody was so impressed and they were like, how can we help you? You want to help me? I want to go to America so I can help my family. Long story short, I came to America. But today, what I do now as a prevention specialist, which I've done for the past 17 years working with high school kids, it was the same thing I did when I didn't have a name or grade for it. Talking to young people. So I'm in the schools, I'm in the rec centers, I'm in the jails, empowering young people. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, so
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 this
it sounds like to me you're saying that you you're still the same person from then to now, in a sense,
a
and it's
better
fine.
person.
It's fine,
Right.
right? It's
I'm still the same
the
person, still
giver,
giving
the
hope,
helper, the
giving hope,
encourager, the
helping.
supporter, and that's cool. There's
That's
definitely
who I
nothing wrong
am.
with being the same person that you were
Right.
before and the same
Right.
person now, especially if it's in the space of helping and supporting people. So that's
People,
a
I'm
great
still
thing.
doing it. And the Lord added to it in 2012 when He gave me a very clear dream about helping refugees. Step
Mm,
into it. We're still doing the same thing, giving people hope, helping people. And I began to write books when I got sick. Didn't know I could write books. Now I'm writing books and helping people write books. That's just who I am forever. The
mhm,
helper, the hope giver, the
mhm,
entrepreneur. So
mhm.
I hope it helps.
That's
helps
awesome.
you
That's
guys. Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's
Yes,
go,
ma'am.
Dr. Stacy.
Hi. So I am going to be extremely vulnerable on this question. I'm also a pastor, so I hope that, I'm not going to hope whatever comes out and how it comes out, that's exactly how I mean
Let's
it.
do it, Pastor.
Let's
Um,
go. Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I really had to understand and get grounded in that my gifts and all that God has placed within me. One is for Him to get the glory. I used to love who I was then as a person who needed, oh my goodness, a ton of affirmation, a ton of, like, you had to tell me I was doing an amazing job. I was doing a great job. Oh, girl, you are on it. You are amazing. And what God had to do for me is really take me through a season where He had to show me that those same lips that praise you are the same lips that will tear you down. And your worth and who you are and the only affirming that you need comes from Him, comes from God. And so who I was then is someone that truly believed that my value came from having to carry so much weight, from working hard. I was overextending myself, and I tied my identity to the different organizations and things that I did. I tied my identity to the titles. And so that is where that commitment to, like, the excellence had to be, improving that I belonged in every room and I got to show people why I'm in this space and why I was chosen to be here. And at the end of the day, even though I had a strong leadership, my boundaries were not, and I burned out working through breast cancer. When I know, like, I got an infection and my skin was falling off, and I'm putting patches on, and Miss Lee is here who was supporting me in that, what, trying to prove to people what, that I earned this seat and I belonged here. And so it was a tough several years for me, but I'm grateful to God that I went through that, because who I am now, I'm still committed to excellence. I follow the motto of excellence without excuse, but I no longer confuse my excellence with self-sacrifice. Right?
Mhm.
I know that my value is not determined by any title that I have. It's not determined by an organization. It's not determined by, someone else's opinion of me. I know that I have a purpose, and my sole job and thing is to do what it is that God has purposed me to do, so that in the end of it all, He's the one that gets the glory, not Stacy, not, I'm a best-selling author, a podcast host. There's a litany of things that I've done and achieved, and it is all for His glory. People who know me know I don't sit in moments anymore. I'm always on to, like, okay, the next thing, like, girl, you got to celebrate that. And that's a big deal. And I'm like, but did it connect them to God? Did it push them closer to their purpose? Because
Mm.
if not, then you know what? It really wasn't that great. And so that's who I am now compared to who I was then.
So I got your next message. Start over with God. That's it.
Wait.
There you
Start.
go. That's
That's what
good.
it's about, right? It says landing opportunities when you're starting over.
That's right.
Start over with God.
You better.
Just that simple. That'll
You
preach.
better.
Dr. Jordan.
Wow. You gave a serious testimony because it made me think about where I was at when I got diagnosed and was put on disability, advised to go on disability, and was put on disability. And I remember going from $10,000 a month salary to being on disability at $5,000 a month. But prior to getting the $5,000 a month, I had no money coming in. And sometimes God will put you in a place to humble you, because I went from 10,000 to zero to 5,000 and was living better off of my life than I was living when I was getting the 10,000. And that's what really pushed me to, okay, I'm comfortable at this. But I had so many people coming to me saying, Marianne, what's the next step? What's the next phase? And I knew it was because I was turning 60. I'll be 66 on my birthday. And I kept saying to myself, okay, I got a lot to give to this world. And I'm not able to do that sitting comfortable doing what I'm doing. I want to do something different. And so there was a vision. So when you ask the question, who was I prior to that? I was a talented worker. Now I'm a visionary.
Mm.
I see visions way bypass what other people see in me. And I thank God for that. Had I not been knocked down, I couldn't have got up to do the things that I'm doing. And so I thank God, and I do too, Dr. Stacy. I give God the glory. People will say, Marion, you bought this in, or you bought $2 million in. That's wonderful. Those are blessings that God has given. But I move on to the next, because I don't, those are celebrations, but I thank God that He's given me the grace in my life, that He's given me, and the knowledge and the skills. And I tell people every day, this is not for the faint. You have to be a person of standard, knowing who you are, knowing your purpose, to keep moving. I tell people all the time, I keep swimming every day. I don't drown, and I keep swimming. I keep moving because I have a vision that's much greater than anybody that is around me. And so for me, it's going from being this great person or talented person to being this visionary that I see something much greater than what other people see around me. And I thank you for that testimony and sharing that. But this is just a great moment for me. You know, it makes you realize where you've been in your life and where you're going and what God has in store for you. Mm-hmm. Never giving up, never giving up, never giving up, never giving up. When you run into those bumps, never, ever giving up. Never.
That was good. Thank you, Doctor.
Never giving up.
Miss
Never.
Yeah.
So if I can come behind all that, Dr. Stacy got me wanting to jump up and do a good dance over here. And to God be the glory, because we should include him, invite him into everything that we do. When I was asked to be a part of this panel, I said, Lord, I'm with all these brilliant women. They're on their own business. They're doing this. They're doing all these great things. God, for my good and your glory, right? This is the season for yes. And that's where I am. And God, the Holy Spirit gave me that in my kitchen in February. It's a season for yes. And now for the question, who I was before, I was an employee. I was a good employee. I'm 65 years old. I worked my entire life. I brought sales. I'm a salesman by trade, by heart. I just love to be able to make someone else's life easier. So it's not selling for me to get money, because at the end of the day, the money went to the bank, right? But I help to make business owners' lives easier. So I sold tools to do that. I was an employee. Who I am now, I am rested. And there are things, I will be a business owner. I'm working my way toward that. I will be that. There's no doubt about that. Because that's what that was my yes, right? And so, but I'm at peace now. I'm able to get on a call with you ladies in the evening and not have to check my emails to see what I didn't do for somebody. Hallelujah today. That's who I am. I am whole. I am restored. I have been delivered. And sometimes we get deliverance from all types of things, but I was delivered from something that I wouldn't have done. I'm taking care of my husband who's sick, trying to help my mom, if you asked me, Robin, to help, I would try to help you. But I knew that I would not set myself down. And so what God did was he fixed that thing up. Y'all, he fixed that thing up where I could be at home doing what I need to do. To God be the glory for all that he has done. So that's who I am today.
Awesome. Awesome. Miss Sutton, it's your turn.
Ooh, I thought this was a general one, but honey,
We done went left,
bringing
right,
it,
up, down.
bringing it.
No down.
You know, if I had a flag, I would be
High.
waving a flag right now. Because it's
All of
nobody
that.
but God who's doing it.
Mhm.
I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess. But God. And when sometimes God has to sit you down and show you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when you get still and you speak to the Lord, and the Lord speaks to you back and gives you clear direction, then you go forward. You walk in your purpose and you just flow. Um, I've been doing a 9 to 5 since I was a teenager, right? And going from one job to the next job to the next, and was not a child of God at that time. I did not know God, was not looking to know God, but God came in. God showed me. And then God is the one who gave me the business. God is the one who's told me to start it. But even in that, who are you doing it for? And the Lord had to strip me in 2023. I'm receiving a diagnosis from the doctor, multiple myeloma blood cancer. Really? In the middle of a Facebook interview. And my whole world turned upside down. But I had to realize it wasn't about me. It's about God. God had to do it. God had to show me. And he showed me. I learned how to be compassionate. I learned how to sit and be still. I learned how to really forgive. I learned how to really forgive. Even when people talk about you, lie on you, do all forms of things against you, I learned how to forgive. Family, friends, church hurt, please. Because God has put us all here for a reason and a purpose. And we're going to go through some stuff, and it is okay. It really is okay, because at the end of the day, God will get all the glory. I tell everybody, since, yeah, okay, I wrote a book. It's called This Is My Testimony. I wrote what God did for me in my darkest hour. He took me through a valley experience. We have all had valley experiences. And through that, that's when it's nobody but you and God. You, each and every one of us, have been through our valleys. But how you come out on the other side, that's what matters. The Lord gave you a business, take it, run, do what God tells you to do. Because man will always try to speak in your ear and tell you, oh, you should do it this way. Oh, you're not making this much money. Oh, you need to set out this formula. But did God tell you that? Did God tell you that? If God didn't tell you that, you don't have to follow that formula. Do what God has called you to do. There is an urgency right now for people to take their rightful place. This is the now time. Your yes must be yes. If God gives it to you to do, say yes. Just simply, yes, Lord, and surrender. I know we don't like that word. We don't like to do it, but we have to surrender. At the end of the day, let God be true and every man a liar. Do what God has called you to do. He told you to start that business, start that business. He told you to leave your 9 to 5, leave that 9 to 5. Whatever is not supposed to be in your life, the Lord knows how to remove you. The Lord knows how to clean you up, but we must surrender. So I thank God for complete surrender. I thank God every day. The Lord is working out a new thing in us. He's building us up. He's even reinventing and reigniting us to the things that we may have left long ago, whether it was starting a book, being a publisher, being a multi-author, whatever, whether it's being a talk show host, whether it's Fortune 500, whatever it is that God has told you to do, just do it. And I'll leave it right there.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So maybe I think I need to chime in on this question a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, right? Um so who have I been? when I decided in 2008 that I was going to leave the workforce and pursue entrepreneurship full time. Um, I wanted to start a writing business, uh, you know, writing proposals for grants and different things like that, because that's, I had learned how to do that in college, and I knew how to write resumes and proposals. And, I was already in that space. And so I, wanted to leave and just step out on faith and do something different. And so as soon as I did it, I left the job in July of 2008. In August of 2009, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I had to stop working on the business because I need to work on my health, because I need to live, right? I need to live, and I need to, make sure that by his stripes I am healed. Amen. So, during that time, I think that I became, of course, I became a different person, because, your focus is different. But I think I also became a different person is because my lens and how I looked at life was different at that point, right? How I looked at life, how I looked at people, how I looked at situations and circumstances. And one of the things that of course, I took a lot of things away from it, even to the point where I wrote this book called The Gift of Cancer, right? And so people may say, well, cancer is not a gift, but that's how I looked at it. Because if I was not diagnosed with cancer, right, it wouldn't have made me see certain things. But one of the main things that I saw during that time, and I think that is important when you're in life and when you're pivoting, is when to let certain people go, right? And so I had to learn during that time that I had to let certain people go. I had to let people go that weren't positive. I had to let people go that weren't supportive. I had to let people go that were not in my corner. I had to let people go. And I think that sometimes, if we get back to the main title of this whole discussion, right? Breaking in, landing opportunities when you're starting over. It's hard for you to start over. It's hard for you to land opportunities. It's hard for you to get back into something or switch or pivot if you're carrying and dragging people with you that they have no business being there anymore. Because we all have heard the statement that says that people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And so we need to discern and know when those certain people are to be in our lives. So I think that during that time, who I was then was the type of person where I didn't want any dead weight. I didn't want anything that was going to hinder me from getting better, from getting well. If you stress me out, I'm cutting you off, because I could not deal with that. I didn't want to deal with that. So who I am now, I'm still that person. I'm still that person, because I can't take too much stress. I can't, I'm still that person in a lot of ways. Of course, thank God I'm healed. How many years ago was that? What, 16, 15 years ago that, I received the diagnosis or whatever. I'm great, on that front. I'm great. But I think that, yes, who I am now, I've been consistent in that area, that I don't want anybody that is going to hold me down, keep me down, stress me out or anything, because I have goals, I have dreams, I have aspirations, I have the visions that God has given me. And you don't have to support me, it's fine, but I'm not going to let you sabotage me either. That so that's another thing that's really important. We have to make sure that we don't have people around us that are going to sabotage what we're supposed to be doing. So that's my little share on that question, right? So I have another question, and this time has flown. It's 7:45, right? Time has flown. So just a quick check-in. How do you tell me your feedback right quick? How is this conversation working for you? A quick 30-second blurb. How do you feel like this conversation is working for you? And if
I
you're
didn't
in
know
the
we're going to have church.
chat,
I didn't know it was gonna be church, but I'm loving
It's
it.
Dr. Stacy's fault.
I'm loving it.
Okay, so unmute a quick check-in. Y'all all right? How's the chat going for you?
It's great. It's great. Thank you.
And so I'm looking in the chat. Someone said, awesome testimonies. I love it. Very inspirational. Thank you, Tiffany, for being here. C. Lee says, very encouraging. Jeremy said, awesome testimonies. Thank y'all so much for being here. We appreciate it. Let me see who else. Okay. Okay. All right. And we have a link in there for some panelist resources. Okay. So I have another question for you ladies. Getting back to the basics of the business of this conversation, right? It says if someone is preparing to return to the workforce today, what practical steps should they take to become more competitive and confident? So we're going to start with Miss Denise.
You know, I'm glad you asked that question because that one right there, I mentioned it earlier. And I know sometimes we are of a certain age, whether you're working your 9 to 5, I still work a 9 to 5 and I have my own business. But if you do not know AI in the age we are living in, you are behind the 8 ball.
Okay.
And I'm not plugging anyone, but there's a certain person that we see all over Facebook, IG, that she is doing it. Okay. And I've signed up for her courses, even on my job, right? They're even, and I work for a job, a very high profile company where I don't want to say the name. However, they have been hesitant with using AI. Now they have started using AI. And because of my position, I've taken their free courses. I'm trying to learn AI. If they don't pay for it, I have to somehow get the skills so that my I can gear up my skills to the standards because my job may be eliminated in another year or two. So what am I going to do to reposition myself, right? You have to know AI. You have to know what a bot is. You have to learn the different tools that they're popping up like hotcakes. And on my side business, I'm editing, right? So even the editing software now, they're using AI. Even Zoom and Loom and Restream and StreamYard, all of these are using AI. But you have to know how to maneuver and to hone up your skills so that you can go into the next future of our future years that we have coming for us. That's where the ticket is. So if you haven't started, you want to stay in the game, you want to hone up your skills, AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with Dr. Marianne and Dr. Stacy.
I would say networking is very key. Finding you a mentor who's doing just what you want to do, who wants to sow into you. It is so key. When people tell me they don't have a mentor, I got a problem with it. You got to have a mentor. Know that your time is valuable, not allowing people to take what you do for granted, and stop sharing with people who don't believe in you. That includes family members. If they don't believe in your vision, stop talking to them. Stop sharing your ideas. The best advice my mentor gave me is one time I had to go present. And when I walked in the room, I was very nervous and I'm used to talking in crowds. And she stopped the presentation, took me in the bathroom, and she said, do you think the people in that room know more than you know about what you know? She said, they may be doctors, physicians, but do they know more than you know? And when she put that confidence in me, I walked back in the room and everybody was like in awe to everything that I said. And I say that to everybody. When you walk in the room, you more than likely you know more than everybody in that room. Tammy made a comment. I got to just add to this. When she says she's great at sales, so am I, Tammy. When I walk in the room, I know I'm going to seal the deal. You got to use that for yourself. Use that for yourself. We have the skills. We've done it for other people for many, many, many years. Now it's time to sow into ourselves. Use those skills for ourselves. Hone into you. And so for me, find that network, find that mentor, and sow into yourself.
Dr. Stacy?
Yes, I love and totally agree with everything that has already been said by Dr. Jordan and by Denise. Very, very important. The church is afraid of AI. You need to let that go because
Yep.
we are called to build the kingdom. We are called to reach the people, and it's not going to happen if we're running away. Every single thing we do and have can be used for evil. It is what you choose to use it for. And so I have to say that because I really do get tired of people just feeling like, oh my God, AI, that's the devil. It's the no, nah, nah, nah. It can be used for whatever it is that you choose to use it for, but it is a tool and it is a gift because nothing ends without God's permission first. We cannot forget that. Second, I agree with Dr. Jordan. You have to have a mentor. If you do not have a mentor, and I mean someone who is doing much, much, much better than you, then you're already behind the eight ball. You have to. I say every mentor needs a mentor, and I live by that. So I always encourage women, make sure you get a mentor. Invest in yourself. A lot of people do not want to pay the money for the courses and the certifications and the mentor like they need to, but you have to invest in yourself if you are trying to become, you know, hopefully excellent at what it is that you're doing. You have to invest in yourself. Don't wait on that job or company to be the ones, oh, we're going to send you to training. No, sweetheart, any training I wanted, I went ahead and paid for it out of pocket myself so that when the door did open, I was already in position to walk into it. And it didn't come from anything that the job gave me. It came from what the investments that I put in for myself. I also tell people, keep that resume updated. Refresh your LinkedIn pages. Your everyone is looking at social media now, so you need to keep your stuff up to date, keep it refreshed. Make sure that you're really understanding the skills for the industry that you're trying to get into. Make sure you understand the skills that they're asking for, right? If you don't have that down pat, then let it go. Like, don't even try. And the last thing I'll say is just like really building up that confidence. Like Dr. Jordan said, getting around people who really can encourage you. But you build your confidence by how well you prepare yourself. That is how you're able to walk into a room knowing more than everybody else, is you're prepared to walk in that room knowing more than everybody else. If you're not taking those steps, then it'll be a much longer road and harder road than it has to.
Thank you so much. So this next question is for Miss Tammy and Miss Catherine. Um, the question is, networking has changed dramatically over the years. For someone who has spent years with one employer, hasn't needed to network, what advice would you give for building meaningful professional relationships today?
Good question, and thank you for that. So I don't think we should ever stop networking. I think that we should always network. And we should always build relationships, trusted relationships that not only help us, but help them as well. When we cooperate with one another, right, it should be something that we all walk away with something, not just me, but Dr. Jordan, Dr. Stacy, Robin, Denise, Catherine. We should all walk away with something. Um, and there's different ways of networking. It's not about necessarily passing out business cards, right? It is about saying hello to someone in the grocery store. I mean, it is, it's about how you look at networking and what you want from it. Today, I rely on my clients that I banked. They were my clients. So it was easy for me to call them and say, this is what I will be doing. I will reach out to you in 6 months because this will be completed and I'm going to reach out to you so that we could talk. And that's what I did when that February date came. I got on the phone and I let the people that, because I knew them, they were my clients, I banked them, I took care of them. I knew who I could reach out to. So networking is something that we should always do. And no matter where you are, you could be at a dinner, you network. You could be at church and you network. You could, wherever you are, you should have an elevator speech, right? You should be able to tell someone what you do, and it shouldn't take you 5 minutes to do that. You should be able to get Denise is holding up her fingers. 2 minutes. You should be able to do that and do it precisely, so that when I walk away from you, I know what you do. I'm not going to chat GP to find out what you do. I understand what it is that you're doing. And so that's what I think about networking. I'll turn that back over to you, Robin.
Okay, Miss Catherine.
Well, so for me, I was networking before I knew it had a name called networking. So, like I said earlier, I had a job. My job was I was in sales, but my other job, which I mean now I will call it a side hustle, but it was never a side hustle. Getting to know my clients. Oh, you're the manager here? Would you go talk to our kids? And I was doing it. And that's how it came about that, oh, you've done so well. How can we help you? Oh, I had a plan. I had an agenda. Going to America would help my family move out of a one bedroom room to a better life. So I had my passport ready. And can I tell you, ladies, I didn't even go to the embassy. My visa came to me at my home because I didn't know these people were so well placed. They were friends with. I mean, they had their contacts with IBM. This was 1990, and I came to America just like that. And then even moving forward, networking is. I'm in the church. Oh, hi, how are you? It's never about what I want out of you. How can I be a blessing to you? How can I make your life better? And when they need someone to pray for, oh, call Miss Kathy. And doing that is not to get something back. It's just answering the call. Networking for me, it's not just business. It's answering the call, saying yes to the Father, being about your Father's business, being there for people, checking in on them. If I don't see you at church in a week or two, hey, are you okay? I'm just checking in on you. I don't want anything, just asking. And that is how I've lived my life. And I'm telling you guys, it's paid off so much dividends. Networking is not about someone just said that passing out a card. When I go, I was Lord, I just want to meet one person. One person. It might be a room full of 50 people, one contact, and that's all I need. And I'm going to keep it warm, checking in on them. Before you know it, Kathy, how can we help you? Oh, okay. About that, this is what I'm really doing. So I felt like the Lord taught me networking before I knew there was something called networking.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's a question here that I believe everyone has answered it. If those of you out there in the live stream and that's in here with us in the Zoom, I believe this question has been answered. I'm going to read it anyway, and you let me know if you agree. It's somewhere that this question has been answered. Okay, so it says, "What's one mindset shift that helped you move from seeing a career setback as an ending to seeing it as the beginning of a new chapter?" I think y'all all answered that question. Would you agree? Would you agree? Or no, Dr. Stacy? Okay, so then you answer it. You want me to repeat it? Okay, you got to unmute yourself.
Now that I think about it, we did, because we kind of talked about it with the who am I now versus who I was then. So yeah, we did kind of, yeah, we did. We touched on it.
Come on, Stacy. I want to hear you again, though.
Oh
I
God.
know it's there. Come on.
Come
Come
on,
on.
give it to us.
Oh
Give it
God.
to us.
Okay. So focusing strictly just like on the mindset shift,
Mhm.
realizing that like a closed door wasn't really rejection. And
Mhm.
I know that kind of sounds like cliche because we hear it like closed door isn't really rejection, it's redirection from God. But like really for a long time, in different organizations, whatever, mainly because of that background of needing to be wanted and needed by people, the people pleasing. Um, I don't know. I just look at it now as it was just all preparation for what it is that I'm doing now. You know, I knew from the age of 8 that I wanted to be an educator, but strictly just a teacher. I never imagined myself as a assistant principal, principal, or a superintendent. Like I just never imagined that for myself. And so I just think going through that, like, just in my, every single thing that I went through was preparation. Every single attack and thing that happened at the different jobs and organizations that I was with, the backstabbing, the setups, the talking about you, the prepare, like God had to really, I think he takes us through, there's no thing, I know he takes us through different things contingent upon our destiny and our purpose. And some roads are a lot harder than others, and it sucks really, really bad because we're still human. Like it sucks really bad. And if you change your mindset to just look at it as like not rejection, but more so redirection and preparation for where you have, for where he's taking you, the highest seat in education, and I'm actually prepared for it. Didn't know the hell I was going through for 10, 15, 20 years was part of it, but it is absolutely prepare me to sit in a seat and not definitely a seat where I'm going to have to make decisions whether people like the decision or not. And I can't be out there, oh my gosh, I wonder are they mad today? Or how do I make it's okay if you're mad, sweetheart, because everything I do is for children and to make sure that children have are set up for success the way that they need to be.
Okay. So now that you have answered that question, I'm going to challenge all of you to, when we talk about mindset shift, I want you to all to share one word that a person would need to do, one word that a person would need to do to embrace their mindset shift. One word. So we're going to start with you, Miss Catherine. One word, not a sentence. A word. I
One
know it's
word.
hard, right?
Let
One
me,
word.
one word, mindset.
Mind,
Belief.
huh?
Belief. Belief.
Belief.
Mhm.
Okay. Dr. Marianne,
Say the same word, believe. Believe.
believe. Oh no,
Mhm.
you can't. You gotta pick a different word. Sorry.
Okay. Let me say, hmm, determine.
Okay. Determination. Okay.
Determination.
Miss Tammy,
Dr. Stacy said this earlier. I think it was Dr. Stacy, but I'm going to say surrender.
surrender.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
so,
Miss
or it
Denise.
may have been Denise. I'm not sure. Everyone has been great, but surrender is my word.
Okay. Miss Denise.
I was going to say surrender, but you know what I was also thinking about? Manifest.
Okay. All right. That's good. One word. You can't elaborate. Just one word.
Manifest.
Dr. Stacy.
Obedience.
Obedience.
Hmm.
Okay. And I would say focus. Focus. It's really, really important. Okay, so we are going to go to a quick lightning round, and I'm going to call each of you individually for this particular question, right? So complete the really it's not a question, is for you to complete this sentence. And we're going to start with you, Miss Denise. The first step towards your next chapter is, if you're speaking to someone else and they say, well, what do you think? You're going to say the first step forward to your next chapter is,
Listen to God.
okay, okay. Miss Catherine, you're going to say to the person, your experience is valuable because,
Ooh, say it again.
you're going to say to them, your experience is valuable because,
Because you came out of it alive.
Hmm.
Mm,
So
that's a mic drop right there.
yes.
That's a mic drop right there. Okay, so Miss Tammy, you're going to say to them, you can do this because,
all things are possible with God, right? And you've got to know that it's God that is directing you. But that's what that's what I would say.
Okay. All right. So we know what the first step is. So the second step to your next chapter is, Dr. Marian, what would you tell someone? They already know what the first step is. What's their second step?
Write it down and make it clear and plain for yourself.
Okay. 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 So, Dr. Stacy, your question is, or your, I'm going to use the same one that I used for Miss Catherine. Your experience is valuable because you mute it. Okay.
Sorry, I needed a think moment. My bad. Okay, so your experience is valuable because it taught you the lessons that like sometimes your education or background doesn't teach you. And
Mhm.
like a lot of times people hold on to that, but those experiences are definitely the ones that are life changing.
Okay. 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 So, I would say to those that are listening, those that are considering a shift in their life, a pivot in their life, you got this because God has got you. You got this because God has got you. Oftentimes, especially when, you know, and even just in my experience of having mentors that are women of a particular age or expertise or career, sometimes a shift and a pivot, it can be scary, right? But you got this. So whoever's on here kind of thinking about, well, I don't know if I can do it. Absolutely, you can. You can absolutely do it. You got this. You got it because you have the experience, you have the know how, you have the expertise, you know how to network, you know how to talk to people, you know how to connect. And if you feel like you don't know how to connect, then you need to learn how to connect. You know why? Because a closed mouth does not get fed. And we can never move to the next level unless we share, unless we talk, unless we communicate, and most of all, that we walk in the confidence and focus that has been given to us. So know that you have got this. You got this. You got this. So tell the person, all y'all unmute and tell the people out in Streamland, let them know you got this. Come on, what? Come on, all y'all unmute yourself. All the panelists unmute yourself. Okay, one, two, three.
You
You
got
got
this.
Got
this.
this.
You got this.
You got it.
Oh, yes.
You got this. So listen, I want to thank all of you. Uh, uh, Denise Sutton, Tammy Harrell, Dr. Marianne Jordan, Catherine Ogie, and Dr. Stacy Shepard. Thank you so much for being here for this panel entitled Getting Back into the Workforce, Breaking in, Landing Opportunities Where You're Starting Over. So I hope those of you who were watching that this conversation was great for you. Of course, there'll be some follow up information. I'm sure there'll possibly be a replay and all of that good stuff. So stay tuned, stay locked in to this particular network of the Virtual Assistance and Administrative Empowerment Network. As you can see, there's some powerful women here that are doing great things, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. So again, my name is Robin Devonish. I'm your moderator for this evening, and I was so glad to I had the opportunity to serve you on this evening. And so hopefully I'll see you again. Bye bye.